as most of you probably know, I'm a pretty big A24 fan. Like, I generally enjoy what they put out. And so I was really excited about this one because it's the first one I've seen this year. I really wanted to watch Tragedy Macbeth, and I really wanted to watch that other one they released. I think it's on Showtime a couple weeks ago. I just haven't had a chance. But this is the first one that I finally was able to actually watch. And it's one that I was really especially excited for because I love Colin Farrell as an actor. I think he's brilliant. So I jumped at the chance to watch this when I had the time this weekend. After Yang was released in 2022, and it was written and directed by Kogonada. No spoilers, but there's really no way to spoil this movie because there's not really a lot of meat to it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing at all. It's just a fact that you could probably talk about this film in a very specific way and still not spoil it for someone. But no spoilers. The general idea is it's set in the future, and Colin Farrell has a family with his wife and his daughter and his techno being, who is the sibling to his daughter. Now, the thing about this is that it's normal for somebody to have a fake sibling or even a clone of one of their kids so that they grow up with someone else. It's they didn't really go in too deep on why, but it's just it's a fact in the movie. It's reality for them. But the main thing that happens here is that this robot being Yang dies, essentially. His a part is broken, they can't fix him, they're unsure about what to do. Now, the first half hour of this film is brilliant in terms of, it's about the family trying to come to terms with it and figure out what they're going to do. They have to make more sacrifices because they have to actually put time into raising their daughter, which sounds bad, and it is. But, that's something they had to deal with. We don't have to deal with that now, right? I mean, we sort of do in the sort of sense that most parents nowadays that have kids, and this isn't, me telling people they shouldn't do this because I'm not a parent and I'm not trying to tell you how to parent your kids, but most people will just turn on the TV and sit your kid in front of the TV and just, let them go and you do your own thing, which, whatever. I mean, I kind of was raised the same way in the fact that, that's kind of what I did. That's why I love movies today. That's why I talk about movies for, not for a living yet, granted, but hopefully soon. So I think that, it's kind of trying to mirror that in the way that, this robot being is kind of, it's I think her name is Mika. I think it's Kyle's name. It's kind of her friend as well as her sibling. And he's raising her and teaching her the ways of the Chinese people and kind of being that distraction or being that help that parents need. And when that goes away, the parents have to kind of figure out what they're going to do to move on. And I like that we are exploring that. And I'm not going to tell you really how they explore it because I don't want to spoil too much. But it's about them trying to work around what they're going to do to solve the problem of that absence in that life. And also the fact that, the kid loves him, and it's a real love, and he really loves her back, and it's this complicated feeling that, you can't really reciprocate because it's a robot. On top of that, there's the issue of Yang, and this is where I start to the movie starts to lose me a little bit when it talks about Yang, as if he has feelings and he can love someone else, because he does, and that's fine. And there's a really complicated reason. This is where spoilers come in. I'm not going to talk about it. But yes, this robot is capable of at least a certain kind of love. And I don't care is the big thing. I really don't care about that aspect of his character. It's not important to me. I was really interested in it. I was really digging the whole family aspect and trying to understand what to do when this really vital person leaves. It's almost like a death in the family, and how do you cope with that? How do you move forward? And it's really deep and psychological and interesting. And then they move away from that after the first half of the film. And they focus on Yang and his love life with this other girl. Yeah, it's still interesting. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I really wanted to go back deeper into that. And there's this really cool thing I want to talk about. And this, I guess, could be considered a spoiler, but I wouldn't consider it a spoiler. In the movie, the child really likes to get her own water, but she always asks Yang to come with her, just because it's the thing that they do, right? And so she's always like, hey, I want you to come get water with me. And he's like, okay, cool, I will. And they do. But by the end of the film, of course, Yang isn't there. He's broken. What is she going to do? So she goes to her father and she says, I'd like to get some water. And then they sit down together. And it's this really beautiful moment that I think maybe some people might have missed. But it's a reflection of her moving on. She's realizing, okay, I don't have him anymore. I must rely on my father for all the things that Yang provided me with. And that's a really sweet kind of thing in terms of, getting to know how the family's moving forward, which is why I really liked that part of the film and the first half hour. But most of the rest of it isn't great in terms of the story development. I will say it is beautifully shot and very well written, but like particularly really well shot. I mean, it is a beautiful film. The colors are everywhere. They are awesome. The shots are awesome. I wish there was a little bit less shaky cam. I get that it is supposed to feel kind of like found footage in some parts, and it's supposed to feel kind of handheld, and I get that, but also I didn't love it. And there's one thing that kind of maybe, I don't want to say it was a big problem for me because it really wasn't, but like there's a couple moments in this film where they're like watching memories, and a person will re-say a line they just said in the same exact way, but from a different camera angle. And I think it's because, they're seeing the memory, and also they're replaying it from their own perspective. And as cool as that was, it didn't have any actual impact on the story at all, because it didn't show us how they were feeling or why they were feeling that. And yeah, was it cool? Sure, but you probably could have shaved like 5 minutes off if you didn't do that. Which brings me to another issue, which is there's a lot of open space in this film, which is really beautiful, but not needed. There's moments where there's just an open frame for like 10 seconds before someone moves into the frame, which is fine. Again, I get it. I think it's it's very pretty and it works well and it is beautifully shot, but it adds a lot of time to the film. This film is probably about an hour and 20 minutes if you get rid of the 10 minutes of just empty space. I'm not really upset about it. Just think I noticed. But overall, it's a really beautiful film. I think that the themes that are touched on work really well. And I want to see more from this director. I don't know if this director's done anything else, but I'm definitely interested in pursuing watching other films by Kogonada. But at its root, it's really, really, really nice. It's really pretty, pure, and really deep. But at its surface level, they miss a lot of the key things that make the movie good, and I really wanted to see more of those. So I'm going to go ahead and give After Yang a B+. Have you guys seen After Yang? Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about it. It is on Showtime and in theaters, select theaters. So, if you find a theater that has it, good for you. Check it out. If you don't, it is on Showtime. And I do recommend you take your time to watch it. It's only an hour and a half, and it's awesome. It's brilliantly acted. I didn't even mention Colin Farrell. He's awesome. I mean, all the actors are great, but Colin Farrell in particular is just awesome in everything he does, except for Daredevil, but we don't talk about that. But it's a really, really beautiful film, and I recommend you check it out if you have not already. And please consider subscribing. It's a huge, huge, huge help to me. Keeps the channel going, and hopefully I'll get paid for my efforts at some point, but please consider doing so. It really does help me out a whole lot. And as always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.